Hello, we're glad you're here. This is a bit of a different scenery than what we're usually doing for these videos. Actually about to go into work right now, came here a little early, but that's all right. So I'm sure as some of you who are new Christians and you're aside from reading the Bible, you're looking for people and pastors to listen to. So as far as pastors I can personally recommend, it really comes down to, it's more than just, I like this person, this one says nice things, or I like what this person has to say. That's all well and good, but there's a lot more to it than that, right? Are they biblically sound? Are they rooted in the Bible? Do they have any spiritual intent? Have they been chosen by God? Are they there on their own merit? After all, Jesus said in the Bible that in the last days, many will come in my name, claiming to know me. But of course, we know that the ones that are actually farthest from him will hear the words, "Depart from me, I never knew you." Again, going back to a point I made earlier where people will claim to be in his name, we have to take into consideration the fact that there are pastors out here, they're not here to glorify God, they're out here for their own gain. And I will get to those pastors in just a minute. But first, I actually want to recommend some good pastors. So who would be some good preachers, good preaching material to work off of for new Christians who might want to consider who to listen to? So first off, we have the late, great Billy Graham. Who can't go wrong with the little Billy Graham? He is pretty much, if not the most famous preacher of the 20th century and going into the early 2000s. Billy Graham helped to bring a lot of people to Christ. He was really a guy that made sure the message of God was heard all around the world, and his timing couldn't be better. This was, I guess, what you would call in the post-radio age, heading into television, and then he made sure to have these televised broadcasts of these Billy Graham revivals. He was often seen in stadiums around the country or around the world. He started out sort of in these tent revivals, and of course, again, that expanded to the stadiums. But he saw the opportunity here for how the message of God could be brought to people all across the world. And of course, God put him where he needed to be, so people who needed saved, who needed to come to Christ, could, be met at this exact moment, whether it was in those tents or in a stadium. Billy Graham himself, I forget the pastor's name that was an influence to him, but he says he was called by God when he was a young boy in sort of a tent revival way back when. I think that was about probably 100 years ago by now. So Billy Graham's messages are also pretty accessible to people, and I'll explain why that is in a moment. There's actually two reasons why Billy Graham is extremely accessible to people. For one, it's just the messages he has done in the past. The Billy Graham Evangelistic Association has put them all over the web, whether it's on their website, YouTube. You can see pretty much most, if not almost all, the sermons he's ever done on YouTube. Some of the ones by the Billy Graham Association, they're sort of a little more truncated because there's all the extra, stuff that goes on at these revivals. But you will find longer versions of his sermons that might have been on TV as well. Sometimes I've seen TBN have a few of his sermons. So that's one form of accessibility. The other form of accessibility, the message of God, pretty clear and understandable for people who may not be super familiar with it at all. He makes it clear and understandable. Now, some people have criticized Billy Graham for making the gospel a little too easy. Some have thought that he, dumbed down the message for the more experienced believers. I've never really had a problem with thinking his sermons are too easy to understand. I think they hit the point home enough, but I don't think they make it too dumb or too easy to understand. So I don't really have a problem there in that area. But yeah, easy recommendation, the legendary Billy Graham. And the next pastor I want to recommend is a pastor named Philip Anthony Mitchell. And this is a guy that is really going viral right now. I don't know if we want to call him the Billy Graham of this age, but he's certainly become one of the more relevant preachers, if you will. I guess if you want to call him a fire and brimstone preacher, he's that, but not quite. Again, like Billy Graham, he hits home exactly what needs to be heard, and a lot of people don't like Philip Anthony Mitchell because sometimes it sounds like, oh, well, his messages are mean. We like preachers that say nice things. The problem is Jesus didn't always say what I guess we would call nice things always. Sometimes he told unbelievers, especially the Pharisees, especially what they needed to hear. They may not have liked what he had to say, but he told them exactly what they needed to hear. And sometimes the truth that comes out of Philip Anthony Mitchell's mouth, the flesh will push back against him, but the spirit is like, yes, but this is true. So if there's any pastor these days anyway that really hits home, I think it is Philip Anthony Mitchell, because he does speak truth 110%. He uses the Bible pretty extensively. I know right now he's doing a really big deep dive into the book of Acts. He's really digging into that book more than what I probably ever would have. But yeah, Philip Anthony Mitchell is there for the truth and nothing but the truth. And if you don't like it, I don't think you're going to like listening to this guy. He is a guy that is going to tell you what you need to hear, whether, of course, you want to hear it or not. But we're going to take a break from pastors I would recommend, and unfortunately, we're going to have to go into the 2 thumbs down area as far as pastors that you should avoid. I think one of the more obvious ones is Kenneth Copeland. I'm just going to be honest, there is something really creepy and perturbing about this guy. For a little background, he's what you would call a prosperity gospel preacher. Basically what prosperity gospel is, it's basically how can God benefit me, not how I can benefit God. That is, for one, the complete opposite way at looking at this. Not to say that God in certain circumstances won't, bless you in abundance or provide you finance or anything like that. But the truth is, there's going to be trials and tribulations on this earth. You will be tested every day. Bad stuff is going to happen to Christians, and sometimes we don't always get what we want, and that's okay. After all, again, Jesus is not some genie in a bottle that we rub a little bit and then we can say some wishes. Lord, I want these things. Please give them to me. That doesn't always work like that, especially if your heart's not exactly in the right place. If your heart is not towards God and it's just greedy, and again, you just want things, which I've had to catch myself doing before, God's not a genie in a bottle. Again, the gospel does not actually work that way. Again, I think they take the whole verse from Matthew where Jesus says, ask anything in my name and you will receive it. Yes, he will, in some cases, bless you with what you have asked. But more often than not, if you ask for something in his name, does it glorify God? Is it just all about you? Is it more about you just wanting things and getting things and just focusing more on greed and prosperity and just wanting stuff than what glorifies our Lord and Savior? And he's just one of those people that he preaches that. That's just what he preaches. But he is honestly pretty greedy himself. I believe he was the guy that said on live television where he's like, oh, we forgot to do the offering. Who wants to get rich? Let's be honest, guy. Nobody there in the congregation is getting rich. That's you. You're the one that actually was... there was a controversial thing that happened, I think, about a decade ago, where he was basically using the congregation's money, again, for his own benefit, to get a private jet that he most often than not probably would not have needed at all. Yeah, but then again, I also think he might be slightly demon-possessed as well. If he's not from Satan, I don't really know. Because I know I saw this video once and YouTube might have taken it down at this point, because why wouldn't they? Where he struggled to utter about the covenant of God. Like, the words just struggled to come out of his mouth. It was very weird to watch. And again, if this guy is not sent by Satan, I don't know who is. But this is... Kenneth Copeland is probably one of the, I guess, worst offenders as far as preachers you should not listen to. He's probably one of the most deceptive ones out there that you could possibly watch or listen to, and I would highly recommend that you stay as far away from the Copelands as you possibly can. I know Mom used to have a devotional book from, I think it was his wife, but one day I saw her out there burning that after the whole thing with the Copelands went down. So yeah, some of these guys you really gotta just stay away from. And speaking of another guy you should stay away from, let's talk about Joel Osteen. This is just, again, another creepy, icky guy who speaks about how God can make you prosper, and God can make you have the dreams and desires of your heart, just like a Disney movie, and all this money and fame and glory and power. That's, no, not the Bible. Sorry, not it. Again, he's one of those prosperity gospel preachers. It's a very, very false gospel. You've got to watch out for these people. I'm sorry, but you've got to be careful. And he doesn't use the Bible like he should. I know there were some actually young Christian influencers, probably a little older than I was, saw this video a couple years ago where they were trying to ask him about something about the Bible. I don't remember what it was, but they're trying to ask him about something about the Bible. He just completely avoided the question. He just completely was like, oh, the Bible, nah. Again, if you are an actual preacher, you should want to dive into a little theological discussion. Your heart should be rooted in God's word, what comes from God. And yet he just seemed to just, no, I don't want to talk about that. No. Yeah, Joel Osteen, not a great guy. So that's another one of those preachers I would not recommend at all. Another major one is Stephen Furtick. This is another false preacher. I'm not going to dig too heavily into this guy for the sake of time, but he's another one these days you really got to be careful of. He does just say blasphemous thing out of his mouth. I think one of the worst examples is when he was on stage and he literally said out of his mouth, I am the living God. Yeah, Stephen Furtick, I can't say I'd recommend that guy. We're going to take a break from people I would not recommend. We're actually going to go into some people I'm kind of indifferent about, you know, maybe honorable mentions. It could be, it's like 50-50. I recommend them, but I don't. So it's really up to your discretion and discernment, what you personally think of these guys. I'm going to name John MacArthur as one. I lean more towards I would not recommend, but also there's aspects of him I do. Kind of on the fence. Like, on one hand, there are times where he speaks truth, and other times where stuff he says, it's like, what are we doing? I mean, for one, he is a Calvinist, which means everything is just predestined. On one extent, yes, it kind of is, but then there's the free will aspect of things that we also need to take in consideration. God gave us free will. for a reason. It really is the ultimate freedom we could ever have. It's just a matter of choosing responsibly what we do with that free will. But he is a Calvinist, a predestination kind of a guy. He's also a salvation by works theologian. He really thinks that you got to earn your way to heaven, and you got to earn your way to get to God, and that not biblical at all. Sorry, it's not by works but by grace how we get to heaven. Yes, we need to do good deeds outside of just our faith. We can't not do nothing outside of our faith, but it's not by works that we get to meet Jesus someday. It is by grace, the free gift of grace, the free gift of salvation. He has said a couple times about how, the blood of Jesus doesn't have the power everyone thinks it does. Not a great thing to say, guy. Sorry, but that's not it. And one thing he does like to do is he likes to poke around literally almost every pastor or preacher he can think of. A lot of the people he talks about, he claims are just false prophets. Everybody's just a false teacher to him. But on the other hand, you can say that, but then you're not any better. Like, I know one of the people he pokes fault at is Joyce Meyer, who I'll get to in a minute. And yeah, I can kind of understand that. But then he pokes around at Billy Graham, who I do believe was sent by God. It's like, no. I know there's some things Billy Graham has said in the past that could be taken way out of context. But the problem is, you can't really poke at everybody else for being a, quote, false preacher when you're not completely off the hook yourself. You've said some things that are not exactly always biblically sound as well. The thing with John MacArthur is, and one thing I can't admire him for, he does like to stand up for truth. He has stood up against the sort of worldly nonsense, woke nonsense going on in the world. He often sometimes uses the Bible sort of to explain things in the Bible we don't understand, so I can admire him for that. But then there's just other things he says. It's like, what are we doing? Like, what on earth? So that's why I'm kind of indifferent with John MacArthur. It's like, on one hand, I recommend him. On the other hand, I don't. But that's up to you whether you want to listen to the guy or not. I would approach with caution. Just use some discernment going into listening into one of John MacArthur's sermons. But he's not a guy I would recommend right off the bat. Like, not even close. Sometimes it's possible to not have a lot of substance in your sermon. I think Craig Groeschel is more about sort of more self-help and self-care than directly living off principles in the Bible. I kind of do wish he'd focus more on that. I can understand, yes, God can help us there in times of trouble, in times of anxiety, in times of fear. Yes, but the Bible is not about, self-help and care. Which is kind of weird, because Craig Groeschel, he was the one that founded and helped construct the YouVersion Bible app, which is a really good app. It's one of the few apps that doesn't actually annoy me these days. That app was really a really big deal for Christians. So he was a pioneer for that. But I kind of do wish his stuff wasn't just more about self-help. Yeah. So, I mean, again, I can recommend these guys, but I'm a little mixed on Craig Groeschel to be like, yeah, just listen to this guy. Like, if you're a new Christian, you'll probably like him. But again, if you're looking for anything a little more with substance, Philip Anthony Mitchell. Like, that's probably the major upgrade. Because I just noticed after a while, Craig Groeschel is just, I don't get just not a lot of juice in the sermons after a while. It just feels kind of lacking. I need a little more. So going back to people I would recommend, we have Cliff and Stuart Nettily. At least that's how I think I'm pronouncing your last name. We have Cliff and Stuart Nettily. You'll oftentimes see them there. Give Me an Answer show online, where they have these discussions and often debates with students on college campuses. They also preach at a church in New Canaan, Connecticut called Grace Community Church, and they have some sermons up on YouTube to watch as well. Cliff Nettily especially is more about, giving the evidence of how God is out there and how God can impact your life. He's there to provide evidence for people who may just see God as just, again, a genie in a bottle, a Santa Claus, a hoax, doesn't exist. Really reaching out to those people and just, providing some answers and sort of having, a discussion with them about, why do you think your worldview is the way it is? And here, let me provide you the truth and why God exists in this world. And you'll often see, watching Give Me an Answer especially, not every college student is nice, engaging. They unfortunately have just devolved into shouting matches at times. The college students will just yell at these guys, and poor Cliff and Stewart are just, trying to keep their composure. You really can tell. Again, I get this because sometimes I find that I'm not exactly the most patient with people either. But yeah, the Nettleys, there's a group of Christian men I would recommend that you listen to as well. Last but not least, as far as pastors I'd recommend, check out Bill Miller from my own church. I'm just going to be honest. We have some videos up on YouTube. I think we actually have 3 different YouTube channels for some reason. I don't know why that is. For my church, it's the Lewistown Alliance Church. Bill Miller is very biblically sound. So if anything, I would very highly recommend that you listen to Pastor Bill Miller. Very high recommend. Honestly, if I had any videos of my own grandpa, who was a pastor at my old church, I'd say listen to him as well. But as far as I know, I don't think there's really anything of him. We didn't really do any videos or live streams or anything like that. We were not that big of a church to really warrant that. We did have cassettes and CDs from like way back, but I don't think we're going to take the time to digitize every single one of those. It's just going to be impossible. So going back to pastors I would not recommend. I mean, I brought up Joyce Meyer earlier. She's another one of those prosperity gospel preachers. My almost 99-year-old grandma loves her for some reason, and I have no idea as to why that is. I don't think I'd really recommend Joyce Meyer for any reason. So, yeah, again, the thing with prosperity gospel preachers, you really just got to stay away from these guys. I would just not recommend you listen to anything with prosperity gospel. Maybe do a little bit of research into these people, but don't listen to these sermons. Just please don't. Then there's Benny Hinn. What a character. I wouldn't call him biblically sound. He was an interesting guy. He really took, I guess, the theatricality, if you want to call it, of Christianity, and just he took it to a whole nother level. You really just gotta look this guy up there. He was interesting, for sure. Yeah, I don't think I'd recommend Benny Hinn either. No, I probably would not. But anyway, that's all I have for today. Again, sorry for the video going super long. I probably went more in depth than what I needed to for this topic, but that's all I have for today. So thank you for tuning in to the 20th Century Dude channel. Hope to catch you on the fly. See you. God bless you all. Make sure you're listening to the right messages as well. I'm begging you, there is a true gospel out there and a false gospel. Please, for any new Christians out there watching this video, please know truth from false. But thank you for tuning into this video, and please spread around the word and message of God. Thank you for tuning in today.